Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. I hope you're all doing well today. Still trying to catch up on some of the news that I missed here in the last few days, and I came up with a few pretty good ones, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you what, people are going to hope that we are just in a recession. But ladies and gentlemen, things are going to be much worse than a recession. You need to prepare now. Things are incrementally getting worse. And this time next year, they're going to be a lot worse than they are now. Not because of just one thing, but because of many things. So prepare now. Food banks have customers who used to be volunteers. Meaning people that used to be all right, that were volunteering their time there, who have now had to become customers and get food from that food bank. Food banks across America report record demand and record shortages. Where are they going to get food when the people that normally provide them with charity can no longer provide them with charity, and when the people that used to volunteer there are now customers? Now, I believe that this depends on the community that you live in. Because, for example, the food bank here in Fairbanks, Alaska, they are doing okay because we have a very strong community. And a lot of people have stepped up ever since the food bank stopped receiving federal money from the health crisis era. Right? A lot of the community members have stepped up and they're doing all right. They're being able to feed the people that need the food. But here it says, stagflation pressures have all but wiped out the savings of the average American and driven up credit card debt to historic highs. Now, for those of you that don't know what stagflation is a combination of when the economy is in a downturn, but price inflation, or the inflation in the price of the things that we need to live, is going up. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. Take a look at some recent news articles where this company is laying off 8,000 people. This company is laying off 10,000, 100,000, 1,900, etc., etc. The economy is not doing as well as is being reported by the mainstream media and the government pundits. That is stagflation, when you have a downturn in the economy and you have high inflation. Only in the past month have credit spending and debt levels begun to slide. But this is a more significant sign that consumers are tapped out rather than a sign of a return to normalcy. I remember Janet Yellen and also Jerome Powell saying that our economy is doing great. People are spending a lot of money. Well, the reason they're spending a lot of money is because they're putting their living expenses on their credit cards because they're tapped out. Their savings are gone. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen when their credit cards are maxed out? What's going to happen when the food banks run out of food? Where are these people going to turn to? The average living wage across most U.S. states is around $16 an hour. Over 30% of American workers make less than $15 an hour. And let me tell you what, $15 an hour is absolutely nothing. You remember a couple years ago, 3-4 years back, where so many people were protesting for $15 an hour? They're not protesting for that anymore because they can't live on $15 an hour, whereas they thought that they could just 3-4 years back. Well, what changed that? Well, I'll tell you what. During this Friday's live stream, I'm going to go ahead and show you what changed that. I've worked up a little spreadsheet that I came up with, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is that's changed that and how that has affected the average American to date. Now listen to this. This is great advice. The most advisable option would be to stock up now on dry and canned goods with a long shelf life now while they are still available, and prepare for the cold season when demand skyrockets even higher. You know, people that are always calling fearmongers, can they not see this? I mean, I don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. Please explain to me. Can the average person not see what is going on when 50, 60, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? When 70, 80% of Americans don't have $400, $500, $600 in savings. Where half of Americans are literally living off of their credit cards. How is it that people still say that when we put out this message to prepare because of what is coming down the line, that it's fear-mongering? I just don't understand. But remember, you have nothing to worry about because the White House says that the economy is doing great because we are not yet in a famine. I actually listened to this clip and it is incredible. Incredible how these people think. They're pretty much saying, hey, listen, we're not doing that good because we have high prices, but at least we're not in a famine like some other countries are. So in other words, we are on our way to having somewhat of a famine. It may be the next year, the next 2 years down the road, but we're not there yet. So be thankful that we're not there yet because some other countries are. So we're doing really good compared to other countries, i.e., we are the cleanest dirty shirt in the hamper. That's all they're saying, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you're preparing. If any of you are listening to these people and taking what they say to heart, thinking that they care about you in any way whatsoever, then you really do need to do a little more research as to what's really going on. Here he says, I think that our economy is more resilient to the types of challenges that we face. For example, with respect to food, we're a net exporter of agricultural commodities. And obviously the high prices are hitting Americans very hard, but in a way that is different from some places that are facing famine, for example. What are they going to say when we actually are facing famine for the same reason he said here, that we are exporting our foods? We have enough food in our last year's carryover in order to feed the country for about 3/4 of a year. This year, if all of our harvests pan out as the USDA is stating, and we export what they state we're going to export out of that harvest, it's going to reduce our carryover by about 20% of what it is right now. And he continues to say, we are in that period of transition right now. What does he mean by that? We are in that period of transition. That's what I would like to know, what he means by that. Claiming further that the United States is in a stronger position than virtually any other country in the world. I really want to know what he means. We are in that period of transition right now. Economists have a technical definition for recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, right? And that's in 2008, all right? And now they're saying, no, we're not in a recession. Yes, we have 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, meaning that I believe the first quarter of this year was negative 1.4, our GDP, and I believe that the second quarter just came out at negative 0.9, so almost 1% to the negative. But now they're saying, no, we're not in a recession. And then I found this kind of funny. Somebody is mocking them right there, because first they said inflation isn't coming. Inflation isn't bad. Inflation is just transitory. Inflation is caused by corporate greed. Recession isn't coming. Recession isn't as bad as famine. It's the same playbook, ladies and gentlemen. The same playbook. And you know what? Even this gentleman here, well, I don't really like to call him a gentleman, but even this person here, and you'll see here who he's with. That way you all know that they're all in the same club, ladies and gentlemen. One of our previous presidents sets the record straight on the definition of inflation. I just wanted to show you right here. Right here it says, what is a recession? While some maintain that 2 consecutive quarters of failing real GDP constitutes a recession, that is neither the official definition nor the way economists evaluate the state of a business cycle. It is unlikely that the decline in GDP in the first quarter of this year, even if followed by another GDP decline in the second quarter, indicates a recession. So even though it's always been a recession, all right, it's always been a recession since the word recession started, that 2 consecutive quarters is a recession, now all of a sudden it's not. So I guess it's not because they say so. And here 2 of our previous presidents discussed that a recession is 2 quarters in a row of negative growth. Ladies and gentlemen, just a few articles that I've gone over should really tell you that you should be looking into getting prepared. And if you're preparing now, getting even more prepared. Just these few articles. Why? Because they're asinine. They really are. The things that are happening here is like, it's just basic economics. It's just basic common sense. And these people that sit at the highest levels of government, make the most basic of mistakes, but at a grandeur level, at a level that is systematically responsible for the standard of living, not only for our nation, but for many parts of the world. If you don't understand now that this is just a game for them, and why is it a game? Let me explain to you why this is a game for them. Let's say you're playing a video game. Let's say you put a quarter. I don't even know if they take quarters anymore, if you have to put $1. But let's say you put a quarter into a video game and you play and you play and you lose. What happens? You go home. You go home. You're done. No harm, no foul. You lost a quarter. You didn't really lose it because you got some entertainment out of it. That's what this is to them. To these people that sit in their ivory towers, that is what this is to them. Them seeing people line up at food banks, them seeing people get thrown out of their homes, them seeing people work 3 or 4 jobs just to afford to stay on that first rung of the ladder, them seeing people starve, them sending our children overseas in order to take the lives of other people just because they disagree with them, even though we the people have nothing to do with their people. They've not done anything wrong to us. We've not done anything wrong to them. It's just that 2 political parties disagree. A political party here in the U.S. and a political party there in that country. They disagree. So they send our people, our children, overseas to do bad things that they themselves wouldn't do because they're cowards. If you don't understand by now that this to them is just a game, then you will end up paying the price a lot more than the person that does understand that fact, because it is a fact. The only thing that brings me a little bit of hope right now, well, a couple of things. One is that people are waking up. All right. But number 2, that people are not only waking up, but that they're rising up. Look at Sri Lanka. Look at all of these other countries where they're just doing massive protests. To me, that says that people are waking up and standing up to take action. Unfortunately, here in the United States, it's going to take a lot more pain before people start standing up in mass to take action. Look at what happened in Argentina over here. Argentina's government is collapsing. People refuse to work amid major subsidy cuts. Now, go ahead and read this article, but it's in a way a little disturbing because the people here, they are refusing to work because the government is cutting subsidies to the things that they need to live. So they're pretty much saying, hey, why are you not giving us our welfare? Not understanding where the government takes that money from. So in a way, they're asking for their own enslavement so that they can get a break on the price of food. When in fact, what they should be asking for is that the government stay out of their lives, allow a free market to exist, and not accept any help from outside organizations, just like the India Mike Foxtrot right here on your screen. So not only are they asking to give them back their subsidies, but they're also asking for help from this organization as well. People need to wake up as to what is really going on and as to what is really controlling all of these failures that are occurring throughout the world. But until people actually wake up to that and then decide to stand up and do like what they're doing in the Netherlands, do what like they did in Canada with the truckers, do what like they did in Sri Lanka, and in a lot of other places. Until people start standing up, things are not going to change in a meaningful way. And then of course, we have the clowns, right? We have these clowns that want to rule the world, and they themselves have a grasp on our corporations, who in turn have a grasp on our politicians. It's going to take people finally saying, nope, we've had enough. We're not going to participate in your system. And that's what they're doing here in Argentina. They're saying, we're not going to participate in your system. We're not going to work. You know, wouldn't it be kind of cool in a way? I know that I'm drifting off here, but we're almost done here. Wouldn't it be kind of cool in a way if we the people said, as a nation, as a people, we're not going to fly anymore until you get rid of the Tango Sierra Alpha. We're not going to fly anymore until you get rid of these jokers. Right? Wouldn't it be cool if the American people stuck together and did that instead? But I don't see that happening until things get a lot worse. All right, I made this video way too long. As you can see, I'm pretty excited to be back, so I hope you got something out of it. I hope, let me say thank you again. I know I've probably said thank you a million times for all of your support over the last week or so, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much to all of you that have joined the Alaska Prepper community here in the last couple of weeks. Truly appreciate you coming over. I hope that you hang out with us during our live stream. And I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for coming over. So I hope that you all have a great day, a great rest of your week. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.